Well, good morning, everyone. And once again, welcome to another live this morning. And we're always thrilled to have you guys on. So let's see if I can see you this morning. I don't know. I never know. Okay, you're getting your notifications. I see that. Q&A Friday. Hope you had a great new year. Here we go. Andrea, you're number one on the hit parade. Rosalinda, both of you from Niagara Falls. Good for you guys. Leela from Burner. Janice from Brampton. Good morning to you. Brahim, there he is from Portland, Oregon. Sandy from Chilliwack, British Columbia. And Sandy from Fergus Falls, Minnesota. We love those Sandys. Marl, how are you from Ottawa? Annette, bonjour from Nouveau Brunswick. Patricia, Pulaski, Tennessee. Wendy from Markham, good morning. Kevin from Oshawa, the mayor of the... Maria, how are you from Ottawa? Sherry from Mississauga. Rosa, Marla from Oregon, good morning. Lori from Cambridge. Georgie, Halifax, Nova Scotia. Carol saying, Happy New Year from West Virginia. John and Linda, Fenland Falls. Diane, good morning from Peterborough. Debbie from Sturgeon Falls. Paul from Edmonton, Alberta. Mary, Gander, Newfoundland. Marilyn from Halifax, or at least this week. Denise, Chatham, Kent. Darlene from Alberta. Amber from New Jersey. I love you guys. John, Elgin, Illinois. Elaine, St. John's, Newfoundland. Another John, how are you, my friend? Lisa. Karen from snowy Innisfil. Dennis, Norwich. Dave from Muskoka. And Jake from Cambridge. And Denise, Dominican. Wow. Catherine, Newfoundland. Maureen. And Cecilia, Shediac, Nouveau Brunswick. Gail, Mount Pearl, Newfoundland. Karen, how are you? From Sault Ste. Marie. Eileen from Brampton. Rita, how are you? And Dale from Courtright, Ontario. Lise from Sudbury. Yeah, where is that? Fran, in the cloud. Fran, I miss you. Julietta from Ottawa. Francis Marie. Guys, we love you guys. Thanks for coming on this morning. Yvonne in Petawawa. Wanda from Virginia. Tammy, Huntsville, Ontario. Lee's in cold Sudbury. And that's on day 2 of the reset. Guys, let us know if you're on the reset. Sharon, Anne, how are you? Anne from St. Catharines. Dear friends. Mary, Bonnie, John, Wyoming. Oh, we love you guys. Marianne from London, how you doing? Janice, we love you guys so much. And Sandra from Brampton. Lise, saying it's cold. Hi, Irene. How are you? And Herma, day 2 of the reset. Joanne. Now, guys, what we'll do, okay, we'll do this. We'll pump up the tires again on Monday because Friday's Q&A. So I would continue on. I only got to 1 point on why you do the reset. Okay. Hi, Louise. And Linda from St. Jude, Quebec. And Keith, and it's cold in Florida. Amber, how are you? And Sherry, oh, I love those Sherrys. Okay, so guys, let's get to the questions here this morning. There's a lot of good ones. Now, Samuel, okay, 52 years old. I have fibromyalgia, advanced osteoarthritis, and sleep apnea. Okay, no fun. What are the chances I have chronic fatigue from Epstein-Barr virus? How can you tell the difference between CF, chronic fatigue, and fibro? Or could I have both? Yeah, you got both. Listen, I wrote this years ago. I did my thesis in clinical nutrition on chronic fatigue syndrome. Okay? That's how I got my PhD. And I published it in a book. I published my thesis in a book called Chronic Fatigue Syndrome, The Modern Woman's Curse. Okay? That's the title of the book. And it was a huge, big seller. I had a publicist at the time, and I traveled over North America to talk about chronic fatigue and fibromyalgia. And I believed at the time that chronic fatigue syndrome and fibromyalgia were two sides of a coin. They're together. You'll never see fibro without CFS. And I believe, let me go back to the roots of it. I believed it was adrenal gland exhaustion, adrenals on top of kidneys, releasing cortisol. Cortisol's on your side till you overuse it, and then it drains the living life out of you. It is an accelerant. And one of the things that it accelerates and pours gasoline on is the fire of inflammation, thus fibromyalgia, sleep apnea. Listen, CFS, they're exhausted. They used to come into the office and say to me, Dr. Martin, I'm tired of being tired and not taken seriously because generally, all the testing that was done came back within normal limits, okay? So they fell through the cracks. Then they would hear about me, someone that specialized in this. I did biomarker testing. They were shocked. Many of them come into my office and cried like babies when I told them what was happening, why it was happening, and then more importantly, what to do about it. And I always started with food, okay? And when you're exhausted and that your mitochondria, the little battery packs within your cells, are exhausted, you need to do the following things. 1, food. Change fuels. You're going to want to eat carbs. You're going to want to eat something that just gives you a quick fix. And we'll talk about this in a question later because many of these patients had hypoglycemia, low blood sugar. But low blood sugar comes from what goes up must come down. What comes up must come down. So with cortisol elevates your blood sugar. That's its job, to get you ready for the fight or flight. It elevates your blood sugar. It elevates your blood pressure. What goes up must come down. Blood sugar goes up, you secrete a lot of insulin, and your blood sugar comes down. And sometimes it comes way down. And thus, the exhaustion. Thus, the hypoglycemia. And the idea was to change fuels, not to give them paper and twigs to get their wood stove operating, but to give them logs, eggs, meat, and cheese. The high protein, high fat diet fuel. Okay? And the results that we got were incredible. One of the products that that became famous, really, at the time. Okay, go back now. You're going back more than 30 years ago. Oh yeah, more than that. You had a product called Navitol, pine bark extract. And because it crossed the blood-brain barrier, it brought extra oxygen up into the brain. And patients that had chronic fatigue syndrome, fibromyalgia, it was an anti-inflammatory, pine bark, and it was an antioxidant. It crosses the blood-brain barrier, brought more oxygen, the cotton in the brain, because that was one of the symptoms was a foggy brain that would lift with pine bark. I was big on probiotics because they all had leaky gut. And remember now, okay, again, cortisol is a diversion. It's an accelerant. It's a diversion, meaning your blood supply is going to your muscles and not your gut, to your muscles and not your brain, because your body's getting you ready for fight or flight. And that's why I called it the modern woman's curse, is because it was mostly women. Not always, but mostly. They're the ones that got hit the hardest with this condition because it messed up their hormones. It made their thyroid slow to a crawl. And there was all of the above. So I used to look at this as a perfect storm. So when you get sleep apnea, fatty tongue, it's an insulin thing. Change your fuel, change the diet. Cortisol formula came out of that. And have a look at that formula, cortisol formula, and compare it to anything else for the cortisol. I'm telling you guys, you can't compare it. And it helps not only to balance cortisol, it also helps with the sleep, because when you fix cortisol, you fix sleep. Anyway, all of those things, okay? Thank you for the question. That was a very good one. It got me going. Even started early this morning. Samia Jean. Thanks for that question, okay? Is it a virus? No, it's not look, a virus, you asked about Epstein-Barr. No, it's not a virus, because Epstein-Barr was only present, and I talked about this in my thesis, because they were calling it the Epstein-Barr virus or the yuppie flu. Okay? That word yuppie, you don't hear it anymore, but it was big in the 80s and 90s. The yuppie flu. You know, people that were, not really low class, more in the upper middle class people. The yuppie flu, they called it. But it wasn't the virus. It was a perfect storm, and it was adrenal. I think I was the first guy ever to talk about that. And I traveled around North America. I traveled to Europe. I talked about this. I did conferences because of, and I don't know, 100 radio shows and probably 300 or 400 interviews because I had a book. And they were all interested in this, like an epidemic that was going around at the time, the chronic fatigue syndrome and fibromyalgia. I never learned about CFS in school. I mean, were people fatigued in the 1970s? Yeah, but not like this. Fibromyalgia, never heard of it in school in the 70s. It wasn't even a word. It wasn't even a term. You can look at my medical books, wasn't even discussed. Fibro? Okay. Anywho, And I talked about the history of it. Might as well tell you a little bit of that. Okay, the history. Most people that had the diagnosis of CFS, and usually you got a diagnosis when they couldn't find anything else. CFS are they and fibro is just a symptom of CFS. Antibiotics in their history, almost invariably, followed by a lot of times a lot of stress. Okay, family dynamics, divorce, separation, sick parents, kids, you name it, the issues. And guys, because I was a history taker, always have been, always will be. History, give me history. Why? Because it's very important. Okay, history is so important. I loved history in high school. Okay, I did. A teacher accused me of cheating one time because I got 100% in history. Okay, I love history. Okay, Elizabeth. I would like to hear Dr. Martin discuss teenage girl, complicated, diagnosed with HSD, same family as POTS and EDS and dysto. You know what that is? That is low, usually very low blood pressure. They'll pass out, fatigue, exhausted. Look, this is a hormonal problem big time. When I see and I saw patients like this, here's what I saw usually, okay? And number one, food. They were bad eaters. They emphasized carbohydrates rather than protein, okay? They usually were carboholics. Bad eating, lots of sugar, not enough protein and fat, not enough eggs, not enough meat. A lot of them were vegetarians because they couldn't eat anything that had eyeballs. I heard that 1,000 times in my office. Well, Dr. Martin, I can't eat anything that's got eyeballs. I said, you're sincere. But you're sincerely wrong. Okay? I used to grab their little faces. And I said, you're very sincere. I can see that. But you're sincerely wrong. Your body was meant to eat the animal kingdom. And if you don't do it, you've decided to be unwell. Don't let anybody tell you you can live on fruits and vegetables the rest of your life. Well, you might, but your life will be short. Okay? Oh, Dr. Martin, what about the blue zones? The blues moose zone. It's all a bunch of bunk. It's a bunch of bunk. Brought to you by the vegans and vegetarians of the world. It's a bunch of nonsense. The longest living and the healthiest people are not in the blue zones. They're in Japan. Okay? Where they eat the most meat and fish. Okay. Anyway. Okay. So, no, they can get out of this. Okay? They can get out of this. I'm a balancer. They need to get balanced. They need to change their fuel. They're usually, and I saw this so often, they're usually anemic, very low levels of B12, and they don't even check it. Most doctors don't check B12 because they don't know anything about B12. Isn't it funny in medicine? In the 1950s, I was talking about this to my son-in-law, who's a physician. I said, read the history of medicine. In the 1950s and the 1980s, you got a B12 shot. You were tired, you got a B12 shot. In the 1920s, everybody and their dog had high vitamin D levels, and now they're down to nothing. because they're scared skinny. Oh, your B12 might be a little bit high. You want it high. You want it optimized. Your vitamin D might be a little high. Good. That's what I'm aiming for. That's when you feel better. But because they don't learn anything in medical school, it's crazy. And nobody in the world ever overdosed on B12. And with these patients, they were usually anemic. Their red blood cells, when I used to look at their blood, they had large red blood cells. The larger the better? No. The larger the worse. They don't carry near as much oxygen. And they didn't have enough B12. And they didn't, again, protein. So I used to do all of the above. And then I'd balance out. They had way too much estrogen, not enough progesterone. I'd balance that out. Their thyroid was slowed to a crawl because of estrogen dominance. So I would fix that. We would balance that out. And it was amazing how well they would do. Okay? Good question. Merci beaucoup. Okay, let's see. Let's get to the next one. And that was Elizabeth. We love you, Elizabeth. Thank you for, okay. Roxanne, you're going to give me a migraine. But I love you anyways, because Roxanne's going to say something that gives Dr. Martin a migraine. And it's instant. What does it say? Another naturopath that I listen to. I know what you're going to say before I read the rest of the question. Consuming too much coffee and caffeine can cause and contribute to leaky gut. It is so much nonsense, Roxanne. You see my headache? You see my migraine? It's nonsense. Do you know that from the day I graduated, I've been defending coffee? Because I said, it's people that it's almost like they got too much time on their hands, and all they want to do is like coffee. It's acidic, Dr. Martin. 1. 2, it dehydrates you, Dr. Martin. Okay? Coffee, bad. Tea, better. Okay? Even though it's full of oxalates. I was a defender of coffee. And I used to say this on my radio show. I got 150 studies to defend it with. Now it's up to over 200. So when you hear that, Roxanne, that it fixes leaky gut, it helps to fix it. It is a powerful antioxidant. It is, okay, because somebody, let me do this one. Let me do this one. Wendy is asking. I've been reading a lot about butyrate. 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 Or whatever they pronounce it. And I'm hearing, okay, Wendy, and Wendy, I'm glad you asked the question, okay? I'm just saying this because I'm going to change my voice for a second. Because you're hearing from so-called experts, the same people that tell you that coffee's acidic, is bad. And here's another one. I'm hearing a lot about butyrate and how it's needed. And that's why we need fiber, because of butyrate. Otherwise, you can't feed that bacteria. Guys, that is a bunch of gunk. Okay? It's brought to you by the cereal companies. It's brought to you by the vegans and the vegetarians of the world. They tell you, oh, see, fiber, you can't live without it. Your gut needs it. No, that's what irritates your gut. You get too much butyrate. okay? The best things for your gut are coffee and water. The best fibers. The best things that feed your friendly bacteria. Coffee, water, and steak. There's nothing better for your friendly bacteria than the best fuel in the world. Steak. Read the book, Sun, Steak, and Steel. I talk about it in there. Fiber's overrated. It's way overrated. But again, you're going to get the gurus telling you different. Well, I've been consistent. I've stood up to it. I've said it was wrong for a long, long time. And look, and I get it. I understand where it comes from. And I'm glad you asked the question, Wendy. I'm really happy. You're going to hear different opinions, just like on coffee. Okay, so Roxanne heard, another naturopath that I follow. And all I'm saying to you guys is, I beg to disagree. And I say this all the time, in all due respect. I do. I respect their opinion. But they're wrong. They're wrong. Oh, I love it. Okay? That was Roxanne, and then I did Wendy's too, right? Like fruit, vegetable, and beans. Wendy, don't live on fruit, vegetables, and beans. Okay? Like, don't do that to yourself. I know a lot of people do, but they're missing massive amounts of nutrients that you don't get in fruits, vegetables, and beans. Okay? You just don't. You can't get heme iron, it's not there. You can't even get cholesterol, it's not there. You need cholesterol. You can't get all the B vitamins, it's not there, especially B12. You can't get them, they're not in the plant kingdom. You want to have a big stool? Well, good for you. But that don't make you healthy. Okay, that was Roxanne, and I answered Wendy's at the same time. Gloria, what would Dr. Martin recommend for a perforated eardrum? Well, look, 83 years old, Gloria, good for you. Or maybe that's someone in your family. Well, look, whenever it comes to lungs and sinuses, I like the combination, okay, for several reasons, of quercetin with a Q. Quercetin. I love quercetin. It lowers your uric acid. Quercetin is in coffee, by the way. Did you know coffee has quercetin in it? It's one of the best sources of quercetin. That's why coffee is so good for you. But I love quercetin as a supplement, and Navitol. Navitol opens blood supply. Quercetin is an antihistamine. Quercetin is so good for anything in the sinuses, allergies, and the lungs. I love quercetin. I love the combination of quercetin and Navitol. Okay? I'm a combo guy. On certain conditions, combine different things. And I found really good results. But when you get a perforated eardrum, it's difficult you want to get extra blood supply, lower the inflammation there. Okay? Thank you very much. And that was, who was that? Gloria. Louise. What causes leaky heart valve? Well, usually, okay, leaky heart valve don't come first. It comes after. Here's a few of the things that I've seen over the years with a leaky heart valve. Okay, diabetes. Remember, sugar destroys blood vessels and blood valves over a period of time. Sugar is so toxic. Your body knows that, but we don't know that. People don't know it because they don't get, they've been taught moderation rather than elimination. That's why the reset is so good, because it eliminates sugar. You don't need sugar. And I'm not saying you'll never have it. I'm just saying you don't need it. If your body needed sugar, it will take steak and turn it into glucose. Okay? So, the other one I saw a lot over the years is infection. Okay? Remember I talked about the bacterial connection between your gums and the heart the other day? Okay? This has gone back a long time that they've determined. That's why dentists talked about it a long time ago, that bacterial. This is why I love oil of oregano, guys. I'm a big oil of oregano guy, if you never heard of it. Well, you heard it here. Okay? Oil of oregano. It is so good. Brush your teeth with it. Brush your gums with it. Because it kills those bad guys, not your good guys. Take probiotics. Why? Because probiotics, they go everywhere. Different strains do different things and live in different places. Okay? That's why you want a broad spectrum probiotic. They're the best. Okay? You want to replace that microbiome all the time. We live in a world where we kill our microbiome. Renew, replenish, regenerate probiotics. Again, have I been consistent? Yep. Very consistent about that. Probiotics. You never get used to them, by the way. Somebody asked the question the other day. And guys, don't we love that? On the private Facebook group, they asked the question, Dr. Martin, don't you get used to taking probiotics? No, you need trillions. You know how much more a trillion is than a billion? It's from here to the moon. When I was a kid, we had millionaires. And that was rare, and holy moly, the guy's a millionaire. A millionaire. Oh, and when we were kids, a millionaire. And then we get billionaires. Like, you're kidding me. A billionaire? Right? You couldn't spend that money if your life depended on it. A billion. And now we got a trillion. It's crazy. It's crazy. Okay. Let's get to that was Louise. Peggy. Does Dr. Martin's inflammation formula get CRP down? C-reactive protein. Well, we spent a whole program, didn't we, on CRP. Why I love that test. It's an inflammation marker. And remember, silent inflammation over a period of time is very destructive. Glycation, sugar, inflammation, sugar, insulin, and oxidation. You want to break down blood vessels? Okay. So, Peggy is saying it shot up to 5. To 0 to 5. Well, something's going on. And I like curcumin. Okay? If you're in the US of A, you can get inflammation formula. Canada, not yet, and maybe soon. I don't know. It's not up to us, guys. It's up to Health Canada, And anyway, the inflammation formula, I love it. I love curcumin, guys. I love Navitol. You combine. Remember the combination Navitol, curcumin? And even quercetin is an anti-inflammatory. those things are really, really good to lower inflammation. So is high DHA. DHA is very important to lower inflammation. Okay? It puts out the fire. Okay. Charlene, let's see. How many more do I got here? Okay, let's get done. We can do it. Okay, Charlene. She had thyroid nodules. Very common. That's what Dr. Martin said. That's what she said. Okay, you're right. My doctor wants to get an ultrasound on them. Of course, they see any kind of a nodule, they want to react to it. Look, I'm not telling you not to get it done. I'm not too worried about it. Thyroid nodules are a lot more common than you think. I wouldn't, like me, I personally don't like playing around with stuff that's not bothering you. Just stay on EMC. Be very careful with sugars. You know what feeds stuff. I love high DHA because it gets rid of any kind of tumor. And I'm not saying your tumors, your nodules are tumors. I'm just saying that your body usually encapsulates things. Your body has an immune system. What does it do with cancer cells? It encapsulates them. And then they go do biopsies on them. They open them up. I don't like that. Now, as I'm saying never to get it? No, I'm not saying that. I'm just telling you my theories, my experience. Okay, what else now? You've been taking a thyroid supplement. Well, then you continue to do it. Take our thyroid supplement. It's built for you, okay? Keep estrogen down. Keep insulin down. Those are growth hormones. Insulin's food, estrogen is dim it out. Flax seeds. I love flax seeds. Okay, that was Charlene. Karen, I have a very low white cell count. You usually have low levels of vitamin D. Usually. She eats eggs, meat, and cheese. You're a smart girl, Karen. You take probiotics. You're a smart girl. You take DHA. You take vitamin D. Take B12. You take Navital. You're a smart girl. Okay? I get so frustrated. I do everything right, and I always catch a cold going around. Well, Karen, listen. Everybody's unique. Everybody's different. And generally, everything you're doing is the right thing to do. And you got vitamized, let's see, you're saying your vitamin D are optimized. Good. Okay, you're doing everything right. You might try a little vitamin A. Okay. Cod liver oil. Because I like vitamin A, like especially with the immune system. Okay? Because it covers. Remember, vitamin A is your mask. It's the invisible mask. Wear a mask to bed. Cover your eyes. Wear a mask, the invisible one. Don't wear the other one. Why would you wear a mask? I see people. I was flying the other day. They still put a mask on. They think it's helping them. It's not helping them. I almost feel like saying, hello? I know you feel better because you got a mask on, but if you think that a virus can't get through that thing, you're just fooling yourself. Plus, now you're breathing in your own CO2. That's not the best thing for you. You weren't meant to wear a mask. You're meant to wear the invisible mask, vitamin A. That's what I call it, because it covers your eyes. You don't see it, but it's a mask. So, because you're going to touch your eyes, your nose, your mouth, the invisible mask, vitamin A. Take a little bit of vitamin A. You can get it on its own or take it in cod liver oil. Okay. Okay. And hypoglycemia. Well, I talked about it. Low blood sugar. often found in chronic fatigue syndrome. High levels of cortisol. What goes up, what comes down. And there are some people that need to eat more frequently because they're such more susceptible to hypoglycemia. But remember what I'm saying here. It's the choice of fuel. Don't eat a granola bar if you have hypoglycemia, because it'll shoot your blood sugar up and then it's going to come down again pretty quick. Protein is king. Eat an egg. Eat meat. Eat cheese. That's the best. Okay, guys. I got them all. Okay, so Monday we're going to go back to sign up to do the reset. I know a lot of you are going to start Monday. Okay? And a lot of you have already started. Let me pump your tires up again on Monday. We'll do that. Okay? And we'll look at next week at lots of other studies. And by the way, if you got the book, Rebuild Your Temple, which the sales are through the roof, and 2, the reviews are unreal. And that's you guys, thanks to my audience, okay? If you got the book, get into our group. It's a private Facebook group, Rebuild Your Temple. Book club, okay? It's private Facebook group. Plus, I'm going to go live there. Okay, we're going to do a little devotionals in there and some practical tips, both physically and spiritually, okay? You don't have to be religious, okay? Not meant for that. It's meant to build up, pump up the tires. You got a soul. We want to pump that up too, okay? Not just your physical body. Okay, guys, we love you guys. You guys are the greatest. Have I ever told you that by far? The smartest audience in podcasting is our audience. Okay? You know when they do standardized tests, okay? And they test, and they do students. I know in Ontario they do it, and they go, they're not getting it. They're not getting their math. They're not getting their English or whatever else they're testing them in, right? But you guys get it when it comes to health. Smartest audience in the world, right here. Okay, we love you. We'll talk to you soon.